So we have two studies for chapter 22 in Deuteronomy. The first one is chapter 22 in reference to verse 5, respect sexual distinctions. We can pray, Father, you are good, and your creation is perfectly designed. Help me to delight in your sovereign design. We can observe in preparing the people of Israel for entrance into the promised land, Moses prescribed various regulations. One of the instructions he gave to Israel was for them to respect the God-ordained distinction between men and women. A woman was not to put on men's clothing, and a man was not to wear women's clothing. We can interpret, while our culture blurs the distinctions between men and women, this passage calls us to affirm and respect our God-given sexes. For a person to adopt the clothing and behavior of the opposite sex blurs and confuses one's identity. God is the one who created human beings to be either male or female, and we are called to delight in his sovereign design, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. Yet for those experiencing gender confusion or struggling with sexual sin, God extends his mercy and grace, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 through 11. We can apply this and commit to change. Journal your commitment to respect and distinctions between men and women, Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5. Embrace a life of grace. Read 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 through 11. Are you experiencing gender confusion or living in bondage to sexual sin? If so, know that God is gracious to those who seek his guidance, forgiveness, and help. What other courage steps is God encouraging you to take? Listen to the Word. Listen to Deuteronomy 22 and reject the worldly lie that another person's misfortune isn't your problem. Replace it with the truth that God commands us to help one another and to share each other's burdens. See also Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12, and Luke chapter 10, verses 25 through 37, and Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. Our second study for Deuteronomy chapter 22 is titled Sexual Purity Matters to God, in reference to verses 22 through 30. We can pray, Father, empower me to stay sexually pure, as doing so honors you. We can observe Moses urged Israel to remain sexually pure. He condemned the act of adultery with a married woman and prohibited sexual relations with an engaged woman. While there could be fatal consequences for both people in these instances, a woman was considered innocent in the event of rape. A man was also not to have intercourse with an unmarried virgin or marry his father's former wife. We can interpret this as sexual purity matters to God, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 3 through 8. While the world wants us to believe that casual sex is part of what it means to be a man, the Bible teaches that we will discover who we are meant to be only if we surrender to God's will. By agreeing to his plan for sexuality, we bring honor to him. Avoid the pain that accompanies sex outside of marriage, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, and invite his blessings into our lives. Yet if we do sin, God can forgive and redeem us, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 through 11. We can apply this and commit to change. In your journal, describe your commitment to stay sexually pure, Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 22. Embrace the life of grace. Read 1 John chapter 1, verse 9. Regardless of your broken past, God's grace is sufficient. Journal a prayer asking for forgiveness of any sexual sin and for the strength to stay sexually pure. List additional courage steps you will take as you commit to sexual purity. And that is our study for chapter 22 in Deuteronomy.